I've always wondered, why is it that incredibly smart, capable people so often repeat the exact same mistakes? Have you ever felt, I don't know, just entirely trapped by a past failure? Like a previous bad decision has permanently locked you into a specific path? Well, welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here today because we're tackling a massive, deeply human problem. We are looking at how to actually break free from the gravity of our past. And our source material for this explainer is this ancient, surprisingly profound text, Deuteronomy chapter 30. This is chapter 183 in our 1189 Bible Wisdom series, where we uncover the practical life lessons hidden in every single chapter. So let's dive right into this.
Think about this for a second. What if your past does not have the final word? What if the direction of your life can change simply through the choices you're making today? That sounds simple, right? But psychologically, it is incredibly difficult to truly believe. But Deuteronomy 30 explores this timeless blueprint about breaking free from the past and choosing a new direction. It asks us this really direct question. Are you willing to choose a new direction, or are you going to let your history write your future?
All right, layer 1, the halftime speech, the literal layer.
To really grasp the wisdom here, we've got to understand the historical context first. The ancient nation of Israel is standing right on the border of the Promised Land, but man, they are carrying some serious baggage. They literally just failed their first attempt to enter the land. As scholar Dr. Cynthia Parker notes, Moses speaking to them in Deuteronomy is a little bit like a coach bringing the team into the locker room at halftime. I mean, they have completely fumbled the first half. Morale is in the basement. And now Moses is delivering this massive, absolutely crucial pep talk before they run back out onto the field for the second half.
So Moses places a literal black and white choice right in front of them. On one side, you have the wilderness. This represents past failure, the consequences of turning away, and essentially death and destruction. But on the other side, you've got the Promised Land. This represents a future choice, restoration, returning to God, and choosing life and blessing. The crucial point Moses is making here is that even after experiencing the absolute worst consequences of their own making, a new beginning is entirely possible if they just turn back toward what's right.
Moving on to layer 2, the wandering human experience, the allegorical layer. Because look, while this is an ancient text about a specific nation, it is an absolute masterclass in the human condition. Just like the ancient Israelites wandering the eastern Mediterranean terrain, maybe stubbornly ignoring their ancient equivalent of a GPS, we too can become completely disconnected from our true purpose. The journey of Israel perfectly mirrors our modern human experience. I mean, how often do we lose our direction? How often do we wander away from our goals, our values, or our relationships, and just end up in our own personal wilderness?
But here is the fundamental takeaway from this layer. The path home remains open. Transformation doesn't require a time machine to go back and fix the past. Transformation begins the exact fraction of a second we recognize that we actually have the ability to change our direction. The door to return, it's never locked.
Which brings us to layer 3, breaking the identity trap, the moral layer.
Now, this layer acts as a deep dive into ethics and human psychology. Be honest, have you ever caught yourself saying, or even just thinking, this is just who I am? This chapter reveals a really dangerous psychological mindset where people internalize their mistakes. They allow their past failures to calcify into a permanent identity. You make a bad financial decision, and suddenly you're telling yourself, well, I'm just bad with money. You fail in a relationship, and you say, I'm just unlovable. You literally become trapped by your previous decisions.
But Deuteronomy 30 vehemently challenges this identity trap by drawing a hard line in the sand. A mistake is something that happened. A mistake is not who you are. Your past can absolutely explain you. It provides context for why you are where you are right now, but it does not have to control you. True growth requires taking responsibility, yes, but then pairing that responsibility with the courage to choose differently today.
Let's look at layer 4, the ultimate heart transformation, the anagogical layer.
This layer looks at the ultimate, deeper spiritual reality of the text. Because honestly, if we stop at just, hey, try harder and make better choices, we've totally missed the profound depths of the source material. As we apply our 4-layer lens, we uncover an architectural masterpiece of ancient literature that points directly to the ultimate transformation, the transformation of the human heart. Our source research on the structural design of this book reveals what scholars actually call the heart theology arc, and the progression works like this. Step 1, earlier in the book, is the command to love God with all your heart. But then, step 2 is a devastating diagnosis. Moses tells the people they still lack a heart to understand. They literally do not have the internal capacity to fulfill the command on their own. But here in chapter 30, we reach step 3, the promise. God himself will transform or circumcise their hearts. The deepest problem isn't a lack of information. It's a condition of the heart that requires a divine solution.
And this points to the ultimate resolution presented in chapter 30. Choosing life represents far more than just temporary success, or wealth, or surviving the desert. It points toward alignment with the very source of true life. The text is arguing that God provides the internal spiritual transformation that we simply cannot achieve by willpower alone.
And finally, layer 5, the choices of today. Wisdom for modern life. So how does this 3,000-year-old halftime speech apply to us when we wake up tomorrow morning? We live in a culture that loves to permanently label people as either a success or a failure. But true wisdom recognizes that life is a dynamic journey of repeated choices. A career can change, a relationship can heal, a person can rebuild. A completely new direction can begin today with just one decision. It doesn't matter how long you've been wandering in your own wilderness. The text promises that renewal is always on the table.
And the most important shift you can make in your mindset right now is where you place your focus. We spend so much energy agonizing over the question, where have I been? We just obsess over the unchangeable past. But the only question that actually possesses the power to change your life is, where am I choosing to go? We have to shift our focus squarely onto the power of our next immediate decision.
Which brings us to the core takeaway of this entire explainer, our one wisdom for chapter 30. I want you to really internalize this. Your past is absolutely part of your story, but your choices today are still writing the next chapter. Let me say that again. Failure is an event. It is not an identity.
So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. What part of your past have you allowed to define your future? And more importantly, what single decision today could create a better direction tomorrow? Are you choosing life-giving habits, relationships, and values? Well, that brings chapter 183 out of 1189 to a close. If this ancient wisdom challenged the way you think today, hit subscribe and join us as we continue to uncover the timeless blueprints for life hidden in all 1,189 chapters. One chapter, 5 lenses, one wisdom. I will see you in the next explainer.